More than a week has passed since Hurricane Ian came through the Venice area. We've had questions about how the town is doing and the condition of some of the popular neighborhoods in the area, and some real estate questions as well. So here's a quick update.
We're Josh and Liz from That Florida Life. As you know, Hurricane Ian blew through the area more than a week ago, here just south of Venice. We did an update video last week just to give a basic, quick update on how the area handled the storm. But we've gotten a lot of additional questions regarding certain neighborhoods, parts of town, and what type of progress has already been made with getting back to normal here. In fact, a lot has happened here in a short amount of time. So we thought it would be helpful to provide another update, just so that you can see how quickly things are moving along here in the Venice area.
As mentioned in our video last week, Venice and even the Sarasota area were very fortunate with this storm. Because Hurricane Ian passed just to the south of us, storm surge wasn't a factor here. However, there was intense wind and rain for many hours. This resulted in most of the damage being things like broken down fences, signs, power lines, trees, all across town. And there was some isolated flooding from the rain in certain low-lying streets and neighborhoods.
But cleanup has moved along very quickly here. The town immediately began cleaning up, and there was an army of electrical linemen that came into town from all over the country to help restore power to the area. As of now, most all of Venice has power and internet, except for a few isolated areas where equipment was more damaged. Driving around town, you will see fallen trees have been cut and stacked near the road, and other debris have been gathered into piles to be picked up by the county or the city. And many businesses are back up and running around Venice. We actually visited downtown Venice many times last week. We ate meals at a few restaurants and even popped into some shops. The farmers market was held this past Saturday outside in the downtown area, and next weekend there is still going to be a festival taking place.
While it's a bummer to see evidence of the storm and some fallen and cut down trees downtown, I'm sure they'll replant, and over time things will grow back just as beautiful as before. Also, grocery stores are up and running, and there is plenty of food, including Detweiler's Farm Market, which is one of our favorite places here in town. And gas stations are fully stocked with no lines, even as early as middle to last week.
So while there's definitely still some evidence of a storm in the area, things are getting cleaned up quickly, and life is beginning to come back to normal for a lot of people. Much of our time last week was not just spent cleaning up or helping our friends and neighbors clean up, but we were also out doing a lot of driving around, checking out different neighborhoods, and Josh was even checking on specific properties and showing properties.
We've had many people asking us about specific neighborhoods and areas, so here's a quick rundown update. Venice Island. This area was very quick to get things back up and running. Most of the island had power and internet and water in the early parts of last week. We didn't see a lot of major damage to homes, but there were a lot of trees down and debris, which has been cleaned up quite a bit already. Beachwalk by Manasota Key. We've actually had a lot of people ask us about the new Beachwalk development and how it fared being so close to Manasota Beach. We actually visited this community a few times last week because we had clients building homes in there. We were even showing people around the neighborhood over the weekend who are thinking about buying potential lots and homes. Everything for the most part looks really good. Flooding wasn't an issue here in Beachwalk. We didn't see any tarps on roofs or anything like that. There were a few missing towels here and there, and a couple of newly planted trees that have fallen over. But we saw after a couple of days, many of the trees were already fixed, so Beachwalk is back up and running. Wellen Park. We've also had a lot of questions about how did Wellen Park fare through Hurricane Ian, and we were out there a couple times last week as well, going through multiple neighborhoods in Wellen Park. The first one, IslandWalk. IslandWalk looked really good. No standing water was in there. Of course, there's a lot of debris and downed trees and things like that. However, we saw equipment being used to clean it up pretty quickly. Amenities areas were open. We saw groups of people playing pickleball and others were swimming in the pool.
Sarasota National also looked pretty good. Again, there were some downed trees and debris that was being cleaned up. It did appear that a few homes had some roof damage, and there may have been some drainage issues around the clubhouse area that was getting cleaned up when we were there. But for the most part, the neighborhood looked good and the golf course held up.
Grand Palm. Grand Palm also looked quite good because there are so many large trees and preserves throughout the neighborhood. There were a lot of areas with broken trees and debris. However, in just a couple of days, a lot of what we saw was already being cleaned up. And we saw crews out there, landscaping crews cleaning up trees and things like that. Roofs and home looked good as well, and the amenities areas were all up and running and open. In fact, there were a ton of kids in the swimming pool. A lot of them were going down the water slide and enjoying themselves. And since there was no school last week, that's what they were doing.
We also went around and checked out the Plantation area as Josh was taking some clients around, as well as Waterford, Sorrento up north of town, and we even popped into Venetia to check on some friends of ours. And honestly, all of these areas looked pretty good. Much of the debris had been cleaned up and put into piles, but you will see some bent road signs and other evidence that a storm had passed through. Overall, we only saw a few homes that appeared to have some type of roof or water damage, and most of the homes seemed to have held up pretty well with the winds. Overall, things are looking better and better every day and starting to feel back to normal. And as we know, things grow fast in Florida, so I'm sure things will be looking beautiful again in no time.
It's been a bit surprising just how busy we were last week with real estate in the Venice area. We've had a lot of inquiries and showings with people still coming into town, which is great. New construction homes could have a bit of a delay, but many builders are working hard to get back on schedule. It's also possible that existing homes on the market could have a bit of damage and currently being assessed for repairs. However, there are some properties that don't have any damage at all. It's also possible that there could be some properties that come onto the market with damage. And these may be of good interest for some investors or other people who are open to a renovation project. Right now, we're preparing to head into the busier winter season. We already have people booking showings and tours with us in the coming weeks and even into November and December, and even into February of next year. So if you're planning to be here and want to have a look around at homes and neighborhoods, be sure to reach out to us and let us know and go ahead and book your tour.
Even though most of Venice was very fortunate with this storm, we understand that there are some homes that did suffer more damage and families who are currently displaced and need help. And there are many communities to the east and the south of Venice that suffered significant damage and whose lives have been forever changed. It's important that we not forget them, so if you would like to help, we've included some links in the description here and in the video where you can donate supplies, money, and even volunteer your time to help out.
Thank you all again for your well wishes and your support. Please let us know if you have any other specific questions about neighborhoods. As a realtor in the Venice, Sarasota area, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to answer those for you, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.